All right, hello world.
Hello, hello.
Good to see you guys out there, Rufus, Mr. Little Man, Paul Tranny here. Got Mikey Borup with me as well. The guru, the man, the myth, gonna show us some fun things today. Super excited about it, and you guys should be too. Muhammad, David, Boss, what's up? Yeah, we could dance.
A lot of people here today.
I'm jumping up and down inside for the subject matter we got going on here. I'm pretty excited about it. Yeah, we got After Effects, man. It's gonna be a shout out to After Effects. We got it. I got it fired up. Boop. There it is.
All right, you gonna follow along today like you did yesterday?
I am, and I'm gonna be doing showing them what not to do. Essentially, like don't do this. You'll get hung up here.
Well, we won't be showing your screen.
Yeah, we will not be showing my screen. Super excited. So yeah, tell us what are we been talking about today?
So today we're talking about dynamic effects. And what is a dynamic effect? Well, basically, here's the scenario. You create this amazing effect, this amazing look, this style in After Effects. You go in, you do all this stuff, animations, keyframes, all this amazing cool stuff, and then the client says, "Hey, that's great. We actually want that to be a different font, or we want." You made a spelling mistake.
I love it. Just change it.
Right.
I don't know.
Or can we use this picture instead? Whatever the situation is. And then you have to go back and do all of that work again, right? Mm-hmm. You change all the keyframes. So I'm going to show you a few really awesome effects that are dynamic. Meaning after you're done doing all the work, you can switch things up and it automatically rebuilds the effect for you.
See, that's nice. So you talked a little bit yesterday about how I know you do a lot of After Effects, and you just finished a big project where you're dealing with like infographics, and that seems like a case where you'd want to use dynamic effects. I don't know if you did.
Yeah, absolutely. And anytime I can do a little bit of work now to save me a lot of time later, I will.
Wow.
Right? So, and a lot of these things you can turn into presets. So then you can just save it and then apply it to a text layer or a shape layer later on.
And with those presets, can you share them as well, or
absolutely? Yeah. So
because that's what probably people are going to say, like, "Hey, man, even easier. Just give me your presets. I didn't have to make it in the first place."
Exactly. So let's. You ready to start?
Yeah, man.
Okay. So yesterday, if you saw Evan's stream, he talked about doing long shadows in shape layers. And he showed some really awesome ways of doing that with shape layers. You don't always want to do them with shape layers, though. And so if you're doing them on text, things are a little bit different, and his method doesn't work the best for text. Works great for shape layers. So let's talk about long shadows with text where they're dynamic, so you can go in and switch out the text later, and everything just rebuilds itself automatically.
Man, I love it.
So here's an example. Let me just kind of show you what we're going to build.
Yeah, it looks good.
Long shadows, and we can go in and have that nice long shadow. Now, when people look at this, they'll go, "Oh, well, that's easy," until you start thinking about how to build a long shadow like that. It's not just a drop shadow, and you can see these with a long shadow like that. These lines, they're perfectly parallel.
Yeah.
So if you're using, there's some other methods out there that like almost look like long shadows, but they slowly kind of expand out.
Okay.
And they're a lot more labor intensive for the CPU to do that. So I'm going to show you a really awesome thing, and there's a cool trick with this technique called the After Effects sandwich.
Ooh, sandwich.
Yeah,
Sounds good,
making
man.
me hungry already.
Yeah, making me hungry.
All right, so let's start with some text. This nice and big so we can see it. Now, a lot of these dynamic effects, there's a filter or a plugin called CC Composite, and I'm going to use it in a few of these, and it's really an amazing plugin. Basically, what it does is it allows me to, on a single layer, composite itself back onto itself.
So, really, you're messing with my head now, by the way.
It's like having multiple versions of the layer, but all on a single layer.
Okay.
So let me show you how that works. But first, let's to this effect, we're going to add. If we go to channel, and it's Minimax. And so what Minimax is, I honestly don't even know exactly what it's doing. I just know that it's what I use. So I'm going to come in here and make sure it's on maximum and put it on alpha and color. And you can see what it's doing is it kind of just expands out.
It's okay. It's kind of like a stroke, essentially, kind of. And where did you find that? Is that just under the effect menu?
Yep, under effects,
okay.
Channel.
Cool.
Minimax.
Minimax.
Right there. And so it needs to be set on alpha and color because the text layer has an alpha channel built into it. Otherwise, it won't do anything. And then what I'm going to do is instead of horizontal and vertical, I'm going to do just horizontal. And you can see it just kind of stretches it out.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of similar to like a directional blur, but you can see the edges are super sharp. It's not blurry or anything like that. It's taking the exact form and just stretching it out horizontally, or I can switch it to vertical, do the same thing, right? Let's go to horizontal. And now here's where I'm going to start building this After Effects sandwich because I want to be able to rotate this, but there's no rotate controls inside of Minimax.
Okay.
So let's come in to Distort, and we'll come down to Transform.
Yeah, I remember you using this yesterday.
Right, so with Transform I can rotate, but it's rotating the entire thing, right? And I don't want to do that. Before we go on, let's actually bring the layer back on top because everything's just white.
Mm-hmm.
So if we come in to the effect, and I think it's under color correction. Yeah, tint will work. And I'm going to turn this all black. So let's take both of these and make them. Oh, I don't want to do that.
Now the text is white,
but the shadow wants to be black. So I'm going to make it all black now, and then with CC Composite, I'll bring the white text back on top of it.
Start to make a sandwich.
Okay, so now effect. Now we do the CC Composite. This is under channel as well. And then what it does is it composites on top of all of these effects you've done.
Mm-hmm.
Just the plain vanilla no effects layer.
The no effects layer.
Right.
Okay. And that's that's what makes it, obviously, so you can see the effects.
Okay, so now let's take this transform, and we can, when we rotate this, there's a little bit of something going on.
Oh, I know why. Do you actually? Yeah, go ahead. Continue.
There's a bug in CC Composite.
No, I was thinking.
That's true. There's
it is. No, yeah. I mean, essentially, you do want the shadow to go that direction, but you obviously.
But I don't want that to move. I just want the shadow to move. And so, if we take this transform, duplicate it again, and then let's put one up at the top, and then one at the bottom, except for where CC Composite is. CC Composite's always going to be at the bottom.
Okay.
And then let's go into the rotate controls right there, and then rotate controls on transform 2, and we're going to connect them together.
Okay.
So if I hold down Option, click on rotation, it brings up the expression dialog box down the bottom. See, it's highlighted red. And then we use that pick whip, and we're going to bring up, and we're going to connect it to the rotation of the first transform. And then while this is still open, this is the important part. You need to go to the very beginning of it.
Add a negative.
Add a negative.
I knew it. Oh, love it.
Now, when we rotate this, look at that.
Whoa.
It's compensating.
Exactly.
Right? Oh,
Yeah.
That's the sandwich you're talking about?
That's the sandwich. So the transform effects are the bread, and everything you stick in between is the sandwich. So if I were to take these things and take them out of the sandwich, like this Minimax, put it down here, it doesn't work anymore. Needs to be in between the two. So that's the sandwich. Now another thing we have on here is it's not in the right spot, right? So we have the shadows. It's equally going both directions, which we don't want it to do. And when I first started making long shadows, I would do this, and then I would come in and I would mask out the top, right? I would cut it all out.
And you're probably not the only one to do that, too, probably, I would think.
I guess not. And I would cut out the top, and then it'd be great. and then I need to change the word, and I'd have to redo all that mask again. So not what I want to do. So let's come into the transform, and if we look at the anchor point, not that one. Actually, let's see, I think it's transform 2. Almost. Okay. So there's the bug with CC Composite.
You gotta kind of like nudge it to get it to render again or something?
Yeah. There it is.
Ooh. Did
So,
you just zero that? You didn't zero it out.
No, I
You
just
nailed it.
I just moved it. So it
How did you get it so
sometimes
perfect?
I just guessed actually. So, but we can make it perfect. So right here we're in the anchor point on transform 2.
Mm-hmm.
See how we're moving that?
Mm-hmm.
How much you move it is actually the exact same number as your radius.
Okay.
So we can make an expression so it's based off the radius and it connects it together. So what we're going to do, a little bit of expressions here. Again, option, click on the stopwatch for the anchor point, and then we're going to type something out. Value, which is the current value that's in there, plus, and then in square brackets, maybe I'll square brackets. We're going to then pick whip the radius, and then comma 0, close with a square bracket. And I can zoom in so you can see that.
Oh,
Thanks.
So we got that there, and that you just picked whip that minimax radius. But after, it's not going to be right because the value on this wasn't
at 0.
Yeah, so I have to reset that. Now everything's right, and as I
change it,
it automatically
that's
offsets
gonna
it.
make a sweet animation too, by the way.
Yeah, you can animate that out, and even you can do like fake 3D, so that it looks like almost 3D text like that. And then what we can do is come into rotation and rotate it around. And where's the minimax? Bring that out.
And you are typically doing that with the first transform.
It just depends. Yeah, the first transform is the rotate. The minimax is the radius, and we can actually go in and make some controllers to control all this, so we don't even have to dive into all this stuff and connect it. Do you have any questions going on?
Oh, do they think I do have a snack? I can't even it's right here, and I don't have enough for everyone, so that means I can't open it.
Want me to open it?
Yeah. Oh, you could have half.
So what we can do now is under any of these transforms, but transform 2 since it's the bottom of the stack, I'm going to come in and bring the opacity down. Oh, never mind.
None of your business. Yeah, so this is, you could obviously pick a different color.
With the tint, you can pick a different color. So let's have this be. Well, I don't know why that's all black like that. We can make it pink.
That's right, we can make it pink.
So I'm going to come into the tint, go down to the compositing options, and since there's an amount to tint, but that's not what I want because it'll just turn it back to white. But if I add this compositing options down, you have to do this down in the timeline.
Okay.
There's no way of accessing the compositing options in this effects panel. You have to do it in the timeline.
Interesting.
Yeah, and then instead of hitting plus because there's no mask, if we just go into it, we can see the effect opacity.
The effect opacity.
That's actually not what I want to do. That's not what I want to do.
Well, let's make sure. Is that your only layer? Because you have something else back there.
Well, it's let me see. This
It's not turned on, so I think we're all right. Let me just.
Transform.
I gotta tie my shoe.
Okay, there we go. So if we go to the opacity of the transform, that's where you can adjust the opacity of the shadow. So transform number 2. And the trick is I forgot to do this. On CC Composite, there's this RGB only. You have to make sure that's unchecked. Because if it's checked, then it's going to adjust the opacity of the shadow text on top with it. If it's unchecked, then it keeps it.
Okay.
So I'm going to come back in here.
Cool. Which that's what you want.
So we got a shadow.
You can go on any background since it's semi-transparent. It looks good.
Now we can also take this and make it so the shadow falls off.
Okay. This is next level stuff, I feel.
So,
save this file. Did you save it?
Did I save it?
Yeah, because I would save this and reuse this technique over and over again.
Well, we can turn this into a preset. Easy enough. So, like, if we were to turn this into a preset, we would want to have controls for the color, right? Mm-hmm. We'd want to have controls for the length of the shadow and then the angle. So what we can do is, if we come into expression controls, we have all these. These are just, do you know what expression controls are?
No.
Oh, they're awesome is what they are.
I'm going to say no for everybody's benefit.
They're blank controllers. They're not connected to anything, and then you can use them to connect to whatever you want. So, for instance, we've got the angle control.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it makes
and right now it doesn't do anything, but
okay.
I can connect things to it. So I can basically bring all of this out front. See, there's that bug again. And so we go into the transform one, and there's that rotation. And I'm going to connect it with a pick whip to that angle control. And now, oh, it's backwards, isn't it?
Did you ever sell this on your site at all, or is this part of?
I've got so
somebody's.
Yeah, I do have a preset that's on my site that I sell. It's got a lot more features to it, and it's really the controllers are a lot nicer. It's just called Long Shadows. So we've got an angle control, and then we can also build other controllers to connect to everything else. So
I'm loving these expression controls.
So we do a slider.
So nice.
And then the slider we can connect to. We want the minimax, so we're going to connect the minimax.
So how deep it is, basically.
To the slider. Yep. And then angle, and then let's do a color. Expression controls and the color control. And then the color was in the tint. And with this, I'm going to connect both of them to that color.
The black
the white
and the white.
Yeah, just so it's. Oh, there we go. Awesome. And just for good measure, we can do the opacity as well. So I'm going to take the slider control for the, come in here, length, angle, and then opacity.
Somebody's asking, saving this as a preset next.
Yep, I'll do that next.
Very cool. Paul Larkin says he's been looking for something like this forever. The various expression controls and everything. And I just love the style. You're making this totally flexible.
So, all right. Now, when I save things as presets, there's that.
Is that a bug?
It is. But the thing is Adobe doesn't make the CC plugins. Somebody else does, Cycore effects.
Oh, okay.
So I've talked to Adobe about it, and they're like, oh, you got to talk to Cycore about that.
Oh, okay. Otherwise, I'd be like, hey.
Yeah.
Does anybody know anyone at Adobe? Oh, wait. I work there.
Render Tom, why am I using tint not fill effect? Because that was the first one I found. I would have done fill, but I was being fast, and that's the one that popped up first. So,
but fill effect would work just as well.
Yep, it'd probably work better because I don't have to connect both the black and the white to it. Okay, so we've got this, and let's save it as a preset. And when I save things as presets, I don't everything down here, all these effects, I don't need to worry about them. So sometimes I'll go in and change the names, like Don't Touch.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I see. Yeah.
Because that's just stuff that I don't want to touch. And then all of the angles are up here, or the controls are up here.
Like my name, copyright Mikey. You could do a little phrase, a little sentence down the, I don't know.
Yeah, but the thing is if you write Don't Touch, you actually can't use the same name for everything.
Yeah.
So then I go.
I'd say please don't touch these.
Then I add 1 underscore for the next one, 2 for the next. Oops.
It's not like don't touch this one either, or this one. You heard me.
I'm spelling wrong.
Suna, I don't know if you're using expressions, but you should be, because these expression controls are fantastic. So do you use any of the custom effects stuff? Capital C, that is.
Do I?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. Custom effects is a whole nother. That would be a 2-hour session on its own, just talking about custom effects. Because there's a lot of hacking involved. It's not officially supported, but it's unofficially supported by Adobe. They've made it easier to do, but at the same time, they don't officially support it.
Okay.
There are some scripts out there to make it easier. There's Slim Effects on AE scripts.
Okay.
And then there's a guy named Jesse Tula who has it's a pseudo effects creator suite of apps that he has made, and there's a web app, or you can download it for like $1 or something like that. That also makes it easy to create these custom effects. Don't touch makes me want to touch it. Don't touch it. Okay, so now we've got all this, and when you're saving an effect as a preset, you go, okay, what am I going to want to save? So I like the shadows, the name. I don't need the source text itself saved in the preset. So if I were to highlight all this stuff and save it as a preset, then every time I loaded that preset, it would change the font and the word to shadows. And I don't want to do that. So basically, all I need is the effects themselves. So I don't need the transform, where it's located, just the effect. So I'm going to highlight down in my window, or my layer down here, effects, go to animation, save animation preset, name it long shadow, and now what we can do is, let's hide that, let's bring up a new
Jean-Eric, hello.
And then we've got the long shadow preset we just made. I'm going to drag,
so as soon
drop
as you
that on.
save it, it's under user presets.
And everything's the same.
Can I do a slow clap? That's so good, man. Seriously, that's super powerful. I mean, I could imagine, again, client changes their minds. I think the uses for this is like, endless.
And again, what's cool is it's totally dynamic. So if I go in and do, let's do some animation presets. So I can change the text animation. Let's change the position. And into the range selector. See, everything moves with it. So I can change everything.
I love it.
I can change the word. Everything just automatically builds. I don't have to redo anything every time I want to do this. Okay, and then if we wanted to,
CC power pin sandwich. Is that
I don't know. Sounds delicious.
It does.
So if we want to add some fall off to this, then there's one other effect that we can add to this, which would be transition. So we go to effect and down to our transitions, and then there's just a linear wipe. And what we can do with this, and then we can rotate it, and then add some feather, and then you got some fall off with the shadow there, based off of the feather linear wipe.
And why did you put it above that last don't touch layer? I don't remember which layer.
That was the CC composite.
The CC.
So
composite.
I did that so it wouldn't
affect the type.
Yep, affect the type, eat into the type there.
So, and it was that easy. Jonathan is asking about actually in Spanish and in English, about saving the shadow, covering your bases there. But you just went, it took you 2 seconds to save that preset. Under effects?
Yep, you just, everything you want to save, effects. So I highlighted effects. Or if I don't want to save all of these things, maybe I only half of these things are print it to the preset itself, then I can select which ones I want to save in the animation preset. But if I hit FX, it'll save all of them. Animation, save animation preset.
Done.
Okay. So, have you seen this style before?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, I don't see the. Yeah. I mean, I see this. Yeah.
A lot in print.
Yeah.
And doing it in video has always been kind of a pain because of having to rebuild everything. And this is, you can save it as a preset, drag it, drop it right onto your text. You're good to go. All right, let's kind of go along this same line and okay.
Okay, so, and this is a good one. So you have this cool text layer with this long shadow. What if you want to apply that to a shape layer, like a logo that you've imported, or an icon?
Yeah, I did it just on text, but let's create a shape layer. Right, so we have a star, and I'll just take that same long shadows preset that I created.
Boom.
Same thing. So basically, it makes that shadow based off of the opacity layer. So if it's just a square, it's going to be a square out. But since there's opacity, with already cut out.
So if it was like a ping file with transparency,
it would. Yes, it would. It would work just like this.
Oh, it would work just like that. Okay.
And
how much are you selling this for? Because I will buy it.
Well, you can make it. I just taught you how to do
it. You just rewind the video, start from the beginning, done.
Yeah, I sell it for people who are lazy like that. Like, yeah, okay, that's great. Where do I buy it?
Sandwich? I just know. And then I got hungry, and I'm like, okay, I'll just buy it.
Oops, I didn't want to hide that. Okay, so we have any questions? Stop it, dude. All right, so let's do some more text stuff. All right, I like working with text. So this is cool. Box type. Right.
Oh yeah.
Background color.
Background.
Oh yeah, it's vibrating.
Can avoid,
can you change the from
full
red?
is really
Change it red to some other color.
creates a glitch.
On which one?
Yeah, the box type.
The
This one?
red,
That red back there.
Yeah, just shift the right.
Something.
Just a little bit. Yeah.
Oops. There's that CC composite.
Thank you.
So here's box type, and again, totally dynamic.
Adobe.
So I can.
And I just saw you just change that shape layer to change the color.
Yep, that was the fill effect.
You have.
So I'll build this from scratch. I just want to show what this is
Cool.
first.
Do you guys want to see this? I don't know.
Just wanted to show that
hype.
You can change text.
Yeah, you just change it. We're out.
Right. So this is kind of a box around your text, and I can.
It's still that very clean, hot look, man. I love it. This, with some of Evan's stuff today, it's super cool.
So
It goes together.
almost like a label. Like those old label makers, you would print out your thing and you stick the sticker on there. And what's cool about this is, again, it's on a single layer. It's not. I don't have text with another shape layer underneath it that's changing size. It's all on a single layer. Single layers mean we can turn it into a preset, because presets don't work with multiple layers.
Okay.
So you can only save a preset if everything is all on a single layer. So that's why I like to do things.
Is that why you use
CC composite?
Okay.
Yeah, I could have done the long shadows by just duplicating the layer and then doing a shadow layer underneath it. But then you can't save it as a preset. And that's really the power of trying to do these dynamic effects, because then we can save it for later, do it again and again and again, and don't have to worry about rebuilding it every time.
I hope none of your clients are watching, because they're like, you just do things with it. Is it that easy? No, it's not that. You still got to build this stuff. This stuff takes time.
All right.
Secret saving me.
Box text. Let's turn that background back on. So what we're going to do with this is actually very similar to the long shadows. We're going to do the mini max, but we're going to do something with the alpha. So let's
Oh, the single layers. Single layers. Do you see that? You can't. You know you read it that way in your head when you first read that.
Okay.
I feel like put a box on it. Movie Boy is killing it. Chat, super funny.
Oops, did I hit the wrong button? Effect, channel. So we're going to do Minimax again. Make sure this is on color and alpha. And we're going to expand it out a little bit, but just a little bit. And then from here, instead of making the long shadow like we did before, we're going to use horizontal and vertical, so it goes in all directions. And then let's add to this under color correction. Let's go down to levels. What we can do in levels is a really powerful effect that I think most people don't use it just for one thing only. It's just to maybe, adjust contrast or something like that. But you can also come into the alpha. That's actually, and I can crush. There we go. I can crush the alpha and turn it black. So now everything's solid now, right? As a box. And then from...
How did it recognize it as an alpha?
I switched the channel to alpha.
Okay.
Instead of RGB, switch it to channel to alpha in the levels.
And there's a little bit of alpha in Minimax.
So, render time, we're going to generate fill. And so now what we did is we created a box. And the box is based off of the size of Minimax.
Okay.
And then, what are we going to do to bring the font back on top of it?
You are going to do a CC composite.
Exactly. So effect in channel, and we have CC composite.
Boop.
Box text. And that's based off of... So that whole box is completely dynamic based off of the shape of the text, because it's building the square around from the shape of the text. So again, come in here.
I like that. I like the almost little trick with levels, though. By the way,
try, please.
To crush the alpha,
Yeah.
to make it so it's all...
Can you got the right?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
change.
red again?
Sorry.
What does that do?
It makes it vibrate.
Yeah, now it's better. Thank you. The glitch, yes.
Fancy green. Okay. So that is a box text. Something. The trick with this though is, if I want to rotate this, it does weird stuff. Right?
Because it's only doing on X and Y.
Well,
Or
because yeah. So what I can do to fix that is,
A transform.
yep. So if I add the transform effect, and then rotate it with this transform, then it works just fine.
So it seems like anytime you are rotating or adjusting something, and the effect is not, you want to do it to the item as a whole, you'll use transform. It seems like you do it.
It's a layer stack order kind of a thing, right?
Okay.
So all of these effects are applied after all of the transform effects.
I see. Okay.
But if I put this transform effect in there, then it's applied after the other effects.
Okay.
So
Cool.
because the main transform for the layer, you can't choose when it applies, if it's before or after the layer stack. It's just going to be before. And so that's when things like that happen.
No, very cool. Very cool.
Oh my eyes, oh my eyes.
Yeah, now we have, do you guys, the green looks fine.
is
Maybe
the green
it's a little
fine?
bright.
Yeah, green is fine.
Okay.
They
It
said
just-
on my house for the red.
The red, okay. Well, that's the original, that's the default red when you add fill. I wasn't going to add fill, but someone named Render Tom said that I needed to add fill.
Oh.
And now he's complaining about his eyes. Okay. So then something cool you can do with this is let's find an image. Let's use something from yesterday. We got bricks, maybe. So this font looks really good with on bricks for some reason. So let's come into that layer, and then let's add an extract to it. And then extract out the white, and then it's almost like a stencil kind of a look.
Nice.
And then what we can do from here is, roughen the edges.
Uh-huh.
And then maybe multiply this on. Actually, if I multiply it, I didn't need to do the extract in the first place.
Oh, that's true.
But then it won't have the roughened edges on the inside. And then it's like almost like spray paint kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Like a stencil. So that's kind of a fun. And again, totally dynamic.
That's the wild part.
Yeah.
What is everybody doing? Just probably using, potentially using Photoshop or something, and then bringing that in.
Mm-hmm. And this is all. You can animate this, which is really cool because we're in After Effects. We don't work at one frame. We work at multiple frames.
Yeah. No, it's good. I mean, it's all animated, and just like with the shadow, essentially, you have that sort of flexibility, which is super cool.
Okay.
And then people want to go off on a tangent. What's your favorite font?
My favorite font?
Do you have one?
Honestly, Helvetica. How boring is that, right?
I'm done with Helvetica New.
Yeah.
Like, just because you have like 30 different options in there.
Yeah, all the weight options.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
Guaranteed.
That's
the correct answer. But if you said lobster, somebody was going to leave.
Creative
Cloud was going to leave. It would just like stop working.
I've used lobster before and some stuff. And
no, I get it. Like, yeah. I mean, we can poke fun at it, but
okay.
It was your only fun choice.
What's next? We've got. Oh, this is great.
You're saving these files, right? Are you going to give these away? Can I have them?
You want them?
I don't know. I do.
Let's. I call this time bending. This next effect, and this is really cool. So let me kind of what we have here. That's actually. I'm gonna have to bring this resolution down. But what we have is this text, and see how as it spins, it kind of bends.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's.
Can
Yes.
you show it again?
Yeah, so they can see it on the stream, or
Yes.
see how it kind of
That's
warps
cool.
a little bit.
Mm-hmm. So this is using a trick, time displacement. And time displacement is an awesome effect built in After Effects. Before sharing name the layer. They were on the stream yesterday, apparently. With the T-shirt. Name your layers.
I say you just rename everything layer 1, layer 2, layer...
Or
They're
don't
still named.
don't touch.
Don't touch. You could touch this one, and this one, and this one, and this one.
So, do you want to know how to make this?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Wow, yes.
Woo. Okay, so let's. What we're doing is time displacement, and it displaces your animation based off of over time, based off of a gradient value.
Oh yeah, I did say I was gonna do everything with you, and I haven't been. I've just been watching the whole time, just fascinated.
All right.
You need to rotate it.
Rufus Studio was on.
Everybody, yeah, Rufus remembers.
I'm glad to see all the people coming back. This is awesome.
I don't know.
Okay, so let's bring in a new text layer.
Okay.
Catch the red. Okay, Paul.
Yeah. Okay.
See some red? Boom.
Yeah. Crush it.
All right, so I'm going to call this spin, and here's a hotkey for you. Right now, the anchor point's down in the bottom corner because it.
You can ask him. We have a little bit of a delay, but is there a shortcut?
There is a shortcut.
Ooh. What's the shortcut to put this center point in the center?
I know the shortcut.
Oh, I know you do, but I'm asking them.
Oh, do they know the shortcut?
Yeah. Do you guys know the shortcut to put the center in the? It's the center. the center rotation point, I guess. And you can do it. They're not going to see you do it.
Right.
So you can still do it and continue. But let us know.
So, if you know the shortcut, then to
Then
put
you're awesome.
the anchor point in the center of your text or the center of your layer. And actually, if I where is it? Not character inner paragraph. Right now, it's set on left justify. Even if I put it on right justify or center, I mean, it's still center at the bottom. But I want it center, absolute center of the text layer, and it only does this for text layers. And it's so.
Command or Control Alt-Home?
Yep. Command Option Home for those of us in on Mac.
Command Option Home.
So it
Mad
puts it
props.
right in the center,
Joel,
and that's
Rufus.
something that Adobe knew that text had a problem with. That the people wanted it in the center, but it doesn't always make sense with text because that's your baseline, and so they put in that command just for the text users.
Perfect.
Okay, so what we want to do is we want to be able to warp this based off of the spinning, and so how we're going to do that is we're going to create a gradient map.
Gradient map.
Yep, and I'm just going to do a circle because we're going to spin it, we're going to move it.
It always starts out so innocent, and then you're going to just like blow my mind with what you do with a gradient map, because that's the last place I'd think you'd start.
So I'm going to create a new solid and make it black, and then on top of this I'm going to add...
So render Tom, if you're on a laptop like me, you're kind of out of luck so far with the centering. So you just added
a circle,
okay.
just a shape layer, and then I'm going to blur this. So go to blur, go to the Gaussian blur, and we blur it like that. And what I'm going to do is then take these two layers of black solid and the shape layer, pre-compose it, name it gradient. And this is going to be how the it determines it's going to warp, right? I'm gonna just bring that to the bottom, maybe. There we go, because I don't need to see it. Now if I go to the spin layer, and to this effect, go to time, and then time displacement. And what we see here is the time displacement layer. How is it going to displace it? We're going to base that off of the gradient layer. Now, it doesn't do anything at first because it's not moving. It displaces it over time. So if I go in and say rotate this, so keyframe that on the rotation and then spin it, you can see
that's the time displacement.
right.
Huh.
It's displacing that spin, whatever movement you did based off of. Let's actually maybe
based off that gradient.
Yeah. So start with the white, moves out to the black.
So that's time displacement attached to a gradient.
Yeah, so the gradient is driving the displacement. So let's if we come in, I'm gonna turn that black on. Or the background back on. Yeah?
No, just like
PC for
Angelo Rock. Alpha.
So there's some controls in here. So the max displacement time is based off of 1 second. So we can scroll that down, and this went weird again. And then this time resolution, the frames per second. So you can do this with actual footage. You bring in someone,
okay.
you film someone, and you can do that. But it needs high frame rate if you want to have a high resolution. So it's translating the frame per second of your footage into resolution. So right now this is set at 60 frames per second. If I set that down to 20, you can see it doesn't look. You see the resolution.
It looks really cool.
Yeah, it looks really cool, but it's you can see each little spot. Ding, ding, ding. It's like there's stair steps in the gradient. But if I increase this time resolution up, then it smooths it out.
Yes.
But also, it makes it take a lot longer to render it out.
So this will be, Jonathan, this will be on YouTube later. It's on YouTube now, but also later. In fact, the same video link, that's what I like about these live streams. It's the same URL, and they can actually scrub back.
Oh, awesome.
And then catch up.
If we play spin text, yeah.
It could be. I would think that depending on the detail in the photo would change how smooth or rough it is.
Well, are they using the photo for the gradient? Is that what they're asking?
Yeah, that's what I think what's going on. I could be wrong. Sumit, I don't know if you're interested in the water background as your in place of the gradient or not.
So this max displacement, I'm going to point.
Good. This is my favorite comment of the day. Rufus Studios because we're talking about time displacement, and it's on YouTube now, but also later. That melted my
And
brain.
we're reading these comments about 30 seconds later.
And we're reading these comments 30 seconds later, and we're talking about time displacement.
Right.
And we just said rewind and watch it. Hello, Morocco.
Oh,
Mohammed.
welcome from Morocco. So you change the displacement times per second depending on how fast your animation is, right?
Okay.
Now, if I want to move this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just parent the gradient to the spin so that... Nope, I don't want to parent the gradient to the spin.
Oh, I see, because you want to move the text and you want the gradient to follow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So the trick with that's somebody asked you don't need a pre-comp it. This is why you need a pre-comp it, and then we show you is we're going to do hold on, unparent that, and I need a new null. Oh, you know what? Here's the easiest way to do that. So I'm going to double click on the gradient, open it up, and then I need to see both this timeline and the other timeline at the same time, because I'm gonna have parenting or pick whipping from one timeline and one composition to another.
Oh, wow.
Ooh.
So if I just move this up here so I can see that timeline up there,
Whoa.
and then I go back to this one, and so this position,
Yeah.
and then
P.
this shape layer position, hit P,
Boom.
I want those to be together at the same spot. So,
Alt key.
yep, and then what I can option or Alt click on the stopwatch and then link them together. And then what we have, we can actually take this, move it back down there. If I
Sumit, 4:18 a.m. in the morning in India. Welcome.
so
I don't know
now
if
if I move this, see it
travels
moves.
and that's inside of another comp.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, man. That's pretty cool. That's one of those things you just didn't think it would work. And it
Linking
does.
from comp to comp.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really cool. So, and what I can do is, let's keyframe the position at the same time as the spin, and then it'll do both at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Let's make those closer together because that gradient is moving with it.
Sweet.
And come in here. We can make it say whatever we want.
Angelo's from Kuwait. That's cool.
That is very cool. Yes, it is very cool.
Compception. Like Inception. Compception.
All right.
Tangier. Ah, I've been to Tangier.
We have the 5 continents on this tree.
5 continents?
People from 5, yeah, all around the world.
No one from Antarctica?
Maybe.
Anyone from Antarctica?
Yemen. Australia.
So let's actually scale that down. That text is rather large. So really kind of a cool effect.
Yeah, totally. I mean, again, it's taking something visual and applying it to time is the interesting part to me.
It's not something you do every day,
Mm-hmm.
but you can actually use this effect on 3D objects as well. This was actually a trick to create kind of a bendy warpiness to like an Element 3D layer before
Okay.
they had the bending warping in the new version 2.
Huh.
So on version 1, you could do this to it.
Oh, nice.
England, France.
Hey, movie boys, get your sister on the stream since she's in Antarctica. And we'll have
More
I don't know how
continents.
much. Yeah.
All right, let's. What do we have
Oh,
next?
Jerome, I love Montreal.
All right, who likes text animators?
I like things that are easy.
All right, so I'm going to show you how to do really complex looking text animations,
Oh, keyword there, looking.
but with only using 2 keyframes.
I don't believe it. I'm gonna call your bluff. 2 keyframes. But you've not disappointed.
Okay, so let's bring in a new text layer. Text animations. And so what I'm going to do is it's a little bit complex to kind of set up, but once it's all set up, it's really easy to make really cool text that just kind of fly around and all land where it's supposed to be. So what I'm going to do into the text animations. First thing, enable the per character 3D. That's something we're going to want to have. And then animate. You can add all these properties. So if you're not familiar with text animators, basically it's a whole system of moving things, transform, but it's inside of a text layer instead of the other transform effects. And you can have it apply to, as it sweeps across the text, it can kind of build on. So I'm going to do all transform properties because I want to be able to move all of them.
Oh, yeah.
So, and then from here, let me just kind of show you. So let's do, let's say scale. Bring the scale up, and in the range selector, I can select what is being scaled. And that's just your basic selection. But what I want to do is I want to change that type of selection, go into advanced, and from square, let's ramp down. And then it starts, and then it ramps down, right? But the problem with that is it's either nothing or half of it, right? Like a slope. If I switch the end, but if I switch the offset, that's where you can kind of see it like that, right? So I'm going to switch the end to say 25%, and then the offset. Basically, what that means is 25% of the text animation is going to be animating at the same time. So if I have this down to 0%, that means it's only going to do one letter at a time. If I do that at 100%, it's going to do, everything's going to be basically moving at a time once the offset is up to 0, right? Everything's being affected at one time because 100% is being affected.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So let's bring that down to 25%.
25% of the whole
Just
line.
so there's a little bit of overlap, right? And then what I'm going to do, here's the cool part. Let's actually bring the scale back to 100. So this top animator, I'm going to give it a name, and we're going to have this start. That's the start position. I'm going to duplicate that and name this one overshoot. And then we're going to add an expression, and I've got these both up so we can see it. And basically, I'm going to animate the offset on this. So I need to connect the offset on the other one on the overshoot to the offset on the start. Are you confused yet? It's okay if you are. So pick whip. So option, hold on the stopwatch, bring that up. I'm going to pick whip, offset, and then I'm going to do. Hold on, I gotta remember what my.
I just act like the video's frozen until you can look it up.
Value at time, and then. So I'm adding an expression to this. Dot at value at time. Right there, to the end of after I pick whipped it.
Text animator. Okay, cool.
So when I pick whipped it, it brought in that
Offset.
whole text animator all the way to offset. Then I put a dot value at time, and in here, I'm going to put time, meaning the current time. That's what the expression means. And I'm going to subtract something. What I want to subtract is just a few frames, so that it's offset by a few frames.
Okay.
I can't just put in 3. If I put in 3, that's not 3 frames. That's 3 seconds. So I need to do 3 divided by 24 because this is set at 24 frames a second.
Oh.
So that's 3 frames
do
down.
like 0.5.
I could.
Okay.
But this way, I know
It's
that
easier
3
to-
is 3 frames.
Okay. Cool.
And let's see if, okay, hopefully that worked. So what we do now is, this is your start position. So where do I want this text to be at the beginning is in the start. So I'm going to move the position. Say let's move the position up.
Mm-hmm.
Oops, let's go 100%. So the position is up, and then let's move the scale, and it's all up there. Let's bring the position down so we can see it. And then maybe rotation. I'm going to do some crazy things, right? Now in the overshoot, this is what it's going to do is if I that's backwards, isn't it?
It could animate out.
So, well, I can come in here to the animation, the advanced, and subtract that. Or you know what, actually, yeah. I think I'm supposed to do ramp up. That's my problem. So switch ramp up on both of those. Okay. So, and this is the end position is when this is at 100%. But the overshoot is meaning it's going to start at one position, then it's going to move towards the end, but it's going to go past it, and then it's going to settle back down.
That's what the overshoot is?
Right.
Ah.
So coming to the overshoot, let's make this kind of halfway in between. And let's change the position of this way down here. Let's make that fit better. So now as I let's do it this way. Something is not right. Technical difficulties.
Yeah, no, you work it out.
'Kay.
Essentially, I'm gonna check a chat. Looks like we have some people from Montreal. We're gonna have a creative jam in Calgary, actually, probably within the next couple months. Just as an FYI, just found out about that. So if you guys are interested, and looks like you guys know lots of cool motion effects designers, which is cool. And I'm sure there's people that Mikey knows. Do you know Zach Lovett?
Yeah.
Yeah, so somebody's
Zach's amazing.
pretty good at creating expressions. While you do that, we could do a. Actually, no, you guys have a conversation going, so I won't derail it.
I think they were asking about doing a giveaway. Someone said, "Hurry, quick, do a giveaway before you forget."
Nick Hill. Is that a real name, Nickel? Nick Hill?
Nick
Sounds
Hill?
like you're saying nickel. We run it together. Nick Hill.
I know a Nick Hill. I don't know if it's the same Nick Hill I know.
Yeah, so continue to send in those submissions as well to the hashtag Adobe Live. Oh, so sorry. As you work on that. Hashtag Adobe Live. Give us suggestions still for motion designers, and post your animations on Twitter with that hashtag. And it could be hosted anywhere. It could be on Vimeo, YouTube, whatever.
A giveaway?
Yeah, if they're didn't want to. I know you're having a. Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do that.
All right, we're going to do a giveaway now. So, if you want 1 year of Creative Cloud, or at least want to be entered in the drawing for it, subscribe to this YouTube channel. And, of course, just by clicking on the subscribe button and type in After Effects in the chat. So we know that you're alive and you have fingers at least.
All right. So basically, remember how yesterday I told you I create tutorials so I never forget?
Yeah.
I also create presets so I don't have to remember
I
all
love
this
it.
stuff. So I've built a preset already
I
that
want
does
it.
all this stuff.
I will pay you, but I
and-
will give you the rest of my...
And more. So let me I've installed the preset on here, and it's actually a preset I give out for free. So
you can find it on CineSpice.
CinemaSpice, yeah, it's called Animationizer. Fun name. So let me just show you how that works. And it's doing the same thing, but I'm not sure exactly what I messed up, and I hate to think around for.
Animationizer.
Yeah. Yeah,
there it
right
is.
there. Yeah, I need to get pictures on there. But so
Okay, that's fine. You're a good man.
here I have, there's the preset, and what we have here is after I apply the preset, I just dragged it and dropped it onto the text layer. We've got this animationize that's doing the animation from 0 to 100%. We have the overlap, how much it's going to overlap by 25%, and the frame offset. And then we got the start position. So I come in here to the start position, and let's change the position. Let's have it start up here with more scale and rotation. Right? And then we go to the overshoot position, and there's this little button that says you can preview the overshoot. So I'm going to hit that button. So right now there's nothing. So I'm gonna have it overshoot down here, and let's bring the scale down. All right? That's what it's going to look like in the overshoot. Now let's animate. So just keyframe, animationize, go forward in time, and then to 100.
Okay.
And then what we see here is
Zoop, zoop.
so it goes down to the overshoot and then bounces and lands back
Awesome.
where it needs to be.
Now, how much would you pay for this preset? How much do you think this is worth?
Free 99.
$20? $30? $150? Guess what? It's free. Well, it's $1. It's however much you want it to be.
Well, yeah,
So
it's a
essentially
name
you
your
can
own
get it-
price.
You can get it on, cinemaspice.net. But, you know, it also is free for one lucky winner. We have a 1 year Creative Cloud going to, I like this guy's first name, Paul Larkin.
Paul Larkin.
Congratulations, Paul. Congratulations. We want to see some hands. In icon form. You just won 1 year Creative Cloud. So that's everything.
That's awesome.
I just right away. Paul, it's awesome. Lucas. Yeah,
You're
about to
sold,
be a rich
Lucas.
man.
Sold.
About to be a rich man here. Congrats, Paul.
So this is a somewhat simple animation, but if we come in and change some stuff like the anchor point on both the overshoot, then you can start to see, oh, that's a little bit too fast. It's doing a lot more crazy looking stuff, and we
And
can
it's
change
so
in
easy.
Z space as well. Let's
Yeah. Look at that, guys. Are you not impressed? Another slow clap. Not too loud, though. Just don't want to
So, and then what we're talking about again is, of course, dynamic effects. I can come in here. Oops, didn't put a P. And what do we have here?
Yeah. That's pretty much me most of the time.
Flipping around.
Flipping around. Yeah. This kind of sums it up. What? Awesome. So yeah, subscribe to the channel. Congrats, Paul. Congrats, everybody. I think this is super cool. And again, just animationizer. Let me just switch to my screen if you don't mind, since I have it up right here, just as an FYI.
Just click. Right
just a little props. Mad props to you, Mikey, for having such a high price on this. Whoa, so it's $1? That's awesome. But that's so easy, because I know you animate text a lot, and this is great for everything.
I have cash.
Yeah, here we go. Here you go. Get everybody. Everybody in the room gets it. There's a 20.
Oh, that's more than $1. All right.
All right, cool. This is so fun, man. I love. I learn a lot from you.
All right. This next one is one of my favorites.
Oh yeah.
It's called chunky scrolling.
Chunky scrolling.
Right. And so for chunky scrolling, we need to go to a website called. Let's do Hacker Typer. Hackertyper.net.
Oh, Hacker Typer. That sounds dangerous, by the way.
So Hacker Typer. You want to see this on the screen?
Yeah, I was just gonna type it in. Well, I mean, it's up to you. Do you want to?
Yeah.
Okay, sure.
Totally fine.
Yep.
So hackertyper.net is basically you could just type whatever, and it looks like you're hacking some sort of 1980s hacker movie, right? It's a lot of fun. But what I'm
I feel so powerful. Like I feel like I'm so smart.
Come on,
isn't
Paul.
it fun?
It's like I'm doing it. This is the Matrix.
So, but I'm gonna just copy this because I just want to just fake text, right? I'm gonna copy that and I'm gonna paste it into After Effects. Maybe. Copy. Paste. There we go. Oh, see, now I need to.
Hold on, I'm almost into the Matrix here. Almost hacked into the Matrix.
Okay, just adjust that a little bit.
Hacker Typer, Kit knows of it. That's awesome.
Okay, so we got just fake text here, right? And
on
there's
this
different
computer.
fonts that are great. You know, I'm not sure what fonts are on this computer, but find a like an old dot matrix font or a computer font. We can make this green maybe. And so what I'm going to do though is I want to scroll through this. Basically, as it types out, I want it to move up. But if so, to do a typing effect, there's text animators. Again, so what most people do to do a typing effect is they come in here, they go into opacity, right? They bring the opacity down, and then just with the range selector, they make it look like it's typing on, right?
Okay.
The problem with that is I'm not going to use opacity for this effect. I want to use scale.
Okay.
And I say this now because opacity doesn't work for what I'm doing, so if you're making a typing effect, use scale, not opacity. So let's take off that animator, and we're going to go in and add scale.
Tracy says thank you for sharing what you know.
Well, thank you for being on the stream.
It's very sweet of you.
All right, so, and what's the difference is with this is, I want to show you something. As you see the bounding box around the text, as I change it with scale, the bounding box is actually changing size. With opacity, it doesn't do that. It keeps the same bounding box, same size. And we're going to use this bounding box to create this effect that I'm going to show you.
Okay.
Also, while I'm down in here in advanced, where my smoothness, I want to bring that down to 0% on the smoothness. And basically what that is so if it's 100% smooth, then each letter will kind of scale up gradually. 0% smooth, it'll be completely 0 and then pop on.
Hop on. Okay.
Right. And that's what it looks like when you type. So let's go in and keyframe the start, go forward a few frames, more than a couple seconds, and we'll bring it down to 100. And so, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that kind of looks how, but I want it to kind of scroll up every time it creates a new line. So
This is gonna get interesting. You're gonna link. You're gonna use an expression.
I am going to use an expression on the position. And this expression, there's a in versions of CC. So CS6 doesn't have this. I'm sorry, people who haven't upgraded to the better software yet. It's called source rect at time. So rect is short for rectangle.
Yeah, rectangle.
So basically, it's saying at time, whatever time it is, it knows the size of the rectangle of your layer.
Yeah.
By pixels.
Okay.
And that's a new expression that isn't in older versions. They added it just recently because there was hacks around it in the past and it just wasn't working great. So we're going to use that. As the rectangle gets bigger, we're going to move its position. So what I'm going to do is on this position, add an expression, and then type value. I can zoom in there a little bit closer. Value minus, and then in square brackets, 0, comma, and this is this for this layer, dot source, capital R for rect, capital A for at, capital T for time. That's just a naming convention. If you ever do anything with JavaScript or anything like that, you know, first word's always lowercase and the next words after that are capital. And then in parentheses, we're going to put time, and then we want to get the height of the rectangle.
HT?
No. Is that right? Yeah. I don't know how to spell.
Yeah, that was supposed to be.
And there's an error. What is the error? Oh, I didn't put a square bracket at the end. Perfect. So now,
you are entering the matrix.
exactly.
Mr. Robot.
So so every time there's a new line, as we scroll through this,
It says okay, we've gotten the size.
yeah, it adds it
And then
moves
move it up from the bottom, like add or subtract it from the current position since it's going up.
So and then
And you could move that. You just did. You can move it anywhere.
because it's based off value. So if I go into that expression I have in there again, the value minus the source rect at time. So it takes the current value, the current position of the layer, and then it adds all that stuff to it. So I can move it around, and it's just fine.
Awesome. I mean, I would have tried to do this with a mask.
Yeah.
And animated the mask, to be honest with you. Had moved it and all that fun stuff.
So we can also swap out this text, and everything's going to still work the same. So if you just put in placeholder text, and then later you're going to put in actual text, it works. Now there is something that I'm going to show you how to do, because with this also, it doesn't work quite yet. People can break this on accident, they won't even know why. Because a lot of people, what they do with text, instead of changing the font size over here,
Okay.
they just scale it down, right? They scale the layer down, but there's a problem with that. The problem is the source rect at time doesn't know that you scaled it.
Oh, I see.
So it's moving it too much. So we can add a scaler in there so it automatically fixes that for you. And so what we're going to do is we're going to learn a little bit more about expressions, and then I'm going to, okay, I need scale. Okay. So I'm going to keep this dot source rect at time, and I'm going to add this to a variable. So we'll call this position. What should I call it?
Could be anything, right?
Position hack, right? That's the hack position equals then let's remove that square bracket, add a semicolon. And so I'm storing that into that as a variable. And then what we need is now a scalar. So it needs to know at what right now the scale is at 64%.
Okay, so
and it needs to know that. But it needs to know it in a number from 0 to 1, not 0 to 100.
Okay.
So we do scalar equals, and then we go 100 divided, and then in parentheses. I don't even know if I need parentheses, but just in case, let's put in that scale. Right? Actually, that needs to be the other way around. This divided by 100. And so what I can do now is from here, value, and did I do minus before? Yep. 0, comma, and then I'm going to put p hack times scalar, and then close that. And so what that's doing is it's changing how much it moves based off of this. So
yeah,
64%.
The original the original height. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
So now let's move this where it's supposed to be.
And then value is what it puts for the position.
Yep. So now, even though I scaled that layer, it's working just fine. So then I can move it wherever, scale it up again. Because a lot of people, again, that's how they scale fonts, is they just scale the layer because it's they're vectors, so it doesn't matter. It's gonna look nice no matter what, kind of thing. But sometimes the expressions are broken because of that.
Yeah, it's super cool.
All right, do we have any?
Yeah, I mean something about. I'm not sure, Jose, what you mean about the little fillet in front of every letter that will be tapped. I don't know if you're talking about the forward slashes in the text, or I don't know.
I'm not sure.
I thought I knew After Effects. Turns out, nope. Yeah, I mean, essentially, this is obviously writing, a little bit of code. Which these days, it's to take things to the next level. It's hard to get away from it. I don't care what you're doing.
When I was in school, we learned to type. Kids these days are learning to code. So that's the difference. Everyone already knows how to type.
I know, right? I thought that was the lamest class in school, and that's the most used class. Like those skills I learned in typing.
Does he mean the cursor?
Maybe it's
like the
like the blinky cursor?
yeah.
Oh, like if the cursor was always at the front of that line.
I've got some expressions that'll do that. I don't have them copied with me. There's a whole lot of
whole way to do that.
Yeah, that's more difficult than I.
And people were asking about the matrix. I'm sure there's probably a plugin or something out there that does matrix style.
Yeah, the starting underscore as you type. Yeah, so there is a way of doing that. You're gonna have to look it up. It's there's a whole big expression. I don't have it memorized. I have it saved as a preset basically. So. Okay, let's do. This is a cool effect.
Saving your file, right? Because I haven't been following along, and I'm hoping I can just get your file and.
All right, saved it for you.
Thank you.
So I'm going to create kind of an offset text look.
Text Anarchy from Digital Anarchy does some falling matrix style stuff. Good to know. I'm sorry, what did you say? Apologies.
I'll have to show you. So Myriad Pro, let's do bold condensed. So I'm going to create an offset effect. And I saw this, it was in a movie trailer maybe I saw it. I can't remember exactly where I saw it. And I thought, man, that looks really cool. And so I decided to figure out how to make it. And now I'm going to show you.
Ooh, this is a good question, Michael. Like, I wonder how many people are on Twitch, just in general. I'm just curious. 'Cause somebody mentioned it.
Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it look like all of these letters are offset in Z space this way and kind of overlap each other.
Okay. Is it a okay? Cool. Yeah.
And so what we're going to do is we're going to use text animators again. I like using text animators because it's dynamic. Once you set it up in here, then it automatically applies it to whatever text you have in there. So let's go to this, and what I'm going to do is enable per character 3D and position, and then the default range selector is just a basic range selector, so it selects a range. And instead of using a range selector, I'm gonna delete that, and then I'm gonna add a new selector, which is a wiggly selector.
A wiggly selector. Interesting.
So, and then what you can see how it's randomly doing it, right?
Okay.
So what I want to do is I want to run them in Z space. And then let's come into this text, and I'm going to add under stroke, let's do tracking, and just so I can kind of overlap them, right? Now, since this is a 3D layer, what I'm going to add to this is some shadows. So let's add a new light. So layer, a new light.
Okay, this is cool. Vincent mentioned lights in the
3D one?
the last session, but I like this use just with a flat.
So I'm gonna just for the shadows. I'm not doing a whole lot of stuff, but just for the shadows. So
that's perfect.
what I need to do is, where's my? Okay, so I need it to cast shadows on itself, and so the hotkey, hit A twice, and it opens up all the material options. And cast shadows is off, so I turn that on. And cast shadows is off also on the light, and I turn that on. And it's really dark.
Yeah.
So let's kind of bring that back. And then down in the light, we can change the diffusion and the radius and all that kind of stuff. So let's increase the diffusion so it's nice and soft.
Very cool.
So you can see there's with no shadow, there's with shadow, and then it adds some depth to it, right? So, and then let's go back into the text animators. And the problem with what I have right now is it's going to, and that's cool, right?
Okay. Yeah.
And if that's what I want to do, then I can do that. But if I want it to stop, be still, I need to adjust that. So we come into, that was under animator 1. In the wiggly selector, we have the wiggles per second turned out to 0, and then it's not going to animate anymore. And then we have this random seed. I can kind of shift through this until I find exactly what I like.
How would you have it animate in and then rest without any offset?
So
what would you have to zero out essentially?
Wiggly animated?
Yeah, like we want it to go blah, 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 and then finally rest into the actual original text.
So what I would do is I would add another, let's say position, another animator, just that's based off of a range selector. And then I, move it off the camera. So I just adjusted Z space way, and then
have that kind of come in.
So you can do it like that.
Okay.
Is that what you mean?
Yeah, and then how do you actually just remove the wiggle here, the offset that's going on, right?
Well, it's not wiggling anymore. I already removed that.
Okay.
So
how do you? I just wanted the plain text.
Send Z.
Yeah. Like all flat, like normal.
Oh, okay. So you want it to be flat again?
Yeah, and I'm kind of curious what property
in
it was.
the right there, the position. So
position. Okay, got it. Okay, so you could have fun with that, and then you could animate that down to 0, right? Could you? Okay, got it.
You could, have it.
I love it. I love that look, man. I'll tell you.
And with the shadow, you can see how it.
And I don't know if people have following along between like you and Evan earlier today, creating this flat style, man. I just love, these simple things that are so powerful, especially when you get into turning this into a preset like you've been doing. Can you do that with a text animator?
Absolutely. So anything on a single layer you can save as a preset.
Okay.
So I won't be able to save the light.
Okay,
That's the problem.
It's like an object. more or
But
less.
I noticed Render Tom was on the stream here. He's got a script called comp code.
Okay.
And comp code, basically, you can create it's kind of like a preset. It's on AE Scripts if you want to look it up. Really, really cool. You can take your whole composition and it saves it as a JavaScript file, and then you can just run that file and it rebuilds your whole composition.
Oh wow.
So it's like a preset, but for your whole composition instead of just a single layer.
Huh. There's Render Tom. Awesome comp code out there. Fantastic.
So shout out to Render Tom and his script comp code. That's for people who's wanting to create
Key number 3.
presets basically, but for an entire composition instead of just a single layer.
Shout out. Thanks for hanging with us too, Render Tom.
There he is. Yay! Go comp code.
Haha.
So I want to add a shadow to this as well,
Cool.
a ground shadow. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate that background layer and make it 3D. And when I did that, immediately you can see some of the letters are ahead of it, some of it behind it. So I'm going to rotate this. Not that. Which one?
You said you duplicated it and made it 3D, and that's essentially just checked that box.
Yep.
For those who
So
may or may not
shadows
know.
and lights and cameras only work with 3D layers.
Okay.
So since it was a 2D layer before,
The light wasn't affecting it.
light wasn't affecting it. So then I'm going to scale this up so it's really quite large, and I'm going to bring it down just to the bottom of that. And you can't see the shadow yet because it's not accepting shadows. Accept shadow. Actually, there is. Let's do. We want to only accept shadows
Oh, nice.
so that we still have the nice background. But the shadows are still going to be there. And then what I can do is I can rotate this, however, to create, the shadows more long or not. But you can see one problem is you see the back there how there's that hard line.
Yeah. That's the sort of the vanishing point.
Yeah, the shadow goes
End
too
of-
far because I have it laid down. But what I can add to this is I'm just going to mask it off and feather it. So I've got my ellipse tool selected up here, and here's a cool hotkey that most people don't know. Oh, maybe they do know, but
No,
if
ahead.
you
Yeah,
just double
I
click,
learned this earlier today.
if you double click, then it automatically applies the mask to the full size of that layer.
Yeah.
So you don't-
So cool.
And then hit F, and then I'm going to feather that. So now you can see it softens that off. And then let's maybe create this background to look more like a psyched wall.
Okay.
And so, we've got one on the green screen. You can see in the corner, it's a little bit darker, right? Because the light's not going to hit that corner just right.
Yeah.
And same thing with like an infinite white background or a psyched wall. The corner of the horizon is not going to be as bright because the light doesn't hit it. So we can mimic that with one of my favorite effects that most people don't use because it's like the cheesy fonts that everyone hates.
Oh yeah.
And people go, "Oh, you're using that font."
Lobster. was
Lobster.
mentioned earlier.
Yeah, it's like lobster.
Comic Sans, it curls.
It's the lobster of After Effects if you use it the way that most people use it, but there's so many other ways to use it, and that's the light sweep effect.
Oh, light sweep.
So light sweep just adds like a little glint over top of your text or your layer,
I like
kind of
it.
a thing. And it's kind of cheesy, it's kind of old school looking stuff, but I hardly ever use it for that.
Okay.
So what I'm going to do,
If you do it subtly enough. Oh yeah, there we are.
so there's a light sweep, shing, right?
Zing.
So
Oh, expensive.
gold. I'm gonna use this as my horizon. So first thing to do, make it horizontal 90 degrees. Let's take the edge intensity down to 0. Increase the width, and you can do it that way, which is kind of cool.
That's really good.
Or you can swap it to
Dark.
dark, and that's kind of also a more natural way. Sometimes I like to do the white because it stands out more, even though that's kind of opposite of what actually happens.
I like that too, actually.
So
It has more depth, more contrast.
so there's
Joel Petrel uses light sweep all the time. Good. Hey.
shout out for light sweep
Yeah.
users. You don't choose your clients.
That's funny. Evil, because it's funny when you apply certain effects, because we were both like zing,
Right.
You know, like there's certain things you do, you're like swoosh, right? Because you can't help it. Yeah, so you do have to add your own effects. That does not come with the effect when you apply. Very cool. And it looks rich. And
Yeah. So that and this is a really kind of a cool, and again, totally dynamic.
Zing.
All right. So I want to show
Yeah, we have 20 minutes.
20 minutes. Okay.
Yeah, we could do this.
Trails.
Let's do this. Trails, people. You ready? Trails?
So
Trails.
this is really cool stuff.
Trails.
This is almost like a hand drawn a look, like a hand drawn
fun.
animated. So it's been a while since I've done this, and if I get stuck, then I'm going to go into the vector version of it, which I know how to do. Again, this is why I create tutorials. I was watching the tutorial this morning, making sure I had everything down.
I love it.
All right, so let's apply this to like a star.
So basically, your brain's like downloaded onto like YouTube, pretty much.
Exactly. It's why do I create tutorials? So I don't have to remember them. So, have you ever seen where something kind of flies in and there's like these globby little trails kind of behind it that looks all kind
Is
of...
this like the more you know sort of thing? Is that what's happening?
No. Could be.
The more you know, Soul Star. But yeah, a little trail behind
So,
a moving element.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create that, and for this. So let's, I'm going to create a new layer. Not new layer. New layer, new solid. And let's just make this black. And then it's, what is that? Cell pattern. So it's generate a cell pattern. And let's, I need to have just basically little dots like that, right? And then I'm going to extract this. So I just have the white and not the black. And then I'm going to go and also tint, because I don't want any, I just want to, oops, wrong way. Okay. So this is, and then I'm going to pre-compose that. So dots. And let's move it below the shape layer. Got it so far? So basically I just made a bunch of dots.
Okay.
Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate that shape layer. So there's two of them. Have one of them be matte. And we're going to use that as a track matte. Nope, this way. For the dots, right? So it cuts it out, so we just have the stars. And then I'm going to then parent that to the main shape layer. Let's give that a name.
So the dots are on top of the star.
So if I'm, let me change the opacity so we can see.
Yeah, they're still separate items, but those dots are still there, and you can move them independently.
Right.
There you go.
Now, what I want to do though is I also want to take the dot layer and parent it to the star as well.
But now you're going to move yep, that locks them those two together. Got it.
Okay. So, we're going to use a time echo.
Uh-huh.
So I'm leaving this transparent so I can see the dots for now, but it won't be transparent in the end. Name of the effect is cell pattern. Yep, somebody got that.
Cool.
So with these dots, we do echo. And then let's keyframe the position of the star. And did this not work? Okay. This is, remember the last trick where I connected from one composition to another?
Mm-hmm.
I gotta do that again. So that's one reason why I pre-compose things, because the
You're gonna go inside of there and pair the dots to, I don't even know. I'm gonna watch.
oh, actually, hold on. Back to this one. So this dot layer, I need to pre-compose. Okay. And move all attributes. Okay, there we go. I think I added one too many pre-comps, but no one will know.
I didn't see a thing.
Okay, so basically I need the position of this dot layer, I need to link to
the movement of the original star.
Yeah, this original star position right here. So I got that position, link that to that position.
Bam.
And you know what? I'm going to do rotation as well.
Oh, that's cool. Rotation's linked.
And then scale,
Scale.
because I don't know if I'm going to scale this or not. Okay, so now when we come back into this main composition, as I move this star around, everything, okay, I think it's working now. And okay, so as it's moving to this dot composition, hopefully we need to add the echo effect. Alright, this is working now. Okay, number of echoes, bring it up.
And do you have that offset somehow negative? Oh, the time is offset.
Something's not working how I want it to work. Alright. I've got a tutorial for this one.
Boom.
Alright, let me show the vector trails, because it's a lot cooler actually. So what I have here,
Are you doing motion tracking on actually, no, you didn't have to do motion tracking.
so
Just an expression, a little pick whip.
so as I move this,
Yeah, I could see it.
there's little kind of trails,
Yes.
and you've seen that kind of style before,
Yeah.
little trails like that, and then they automatically.
Oh, nice.
So what we do for that, oops, not black.
Yeah, you probably have animating the star. You have expressions tying the two together.
Let's create on the star. Did I do it on that same layer? Yep, okay. So we're going to add to this a right on effect. Let me make sure I have my layer selected. We got any questions coming up?
I don't know, we're good. Somebody says throw some code in there, but you were good.
All right, so what the right on effect does is basically there's the brush position, and as I keyframe the brush position, it is
Oh, okay.
It does that, right?
Got it.
And then we can have the length. And if it's set to 0, then the length is forever. But if it's set above 0, then it does that, right? But I want that brush position to be based off of the points of this star. And so we're going to add some null objects to kind of track to it.
Yeah.
So layer new null object. And a null object is just an empty nothing. There's nothing to it, but it's something you can parent things to and things like that. So this null object I want to be, oops, not that. Let's name this. So we'll name it trace and parent it to the shape layer, the star. So now as I move this shape layer around, that works, right? And then what I'm going to do is this right on, let's actually reset everything. And that brush position, I'm going to create an expression. And I want to connect it to the position of the null object. And so, like that, but I can't just do it that way. I got to go to comp.
Oh, and that's what somebody wrote down. They said 2 comp. I mean, the rest of
I
it.
think I did that wrong.
They say 2 comp 0, 0, 0.
All right.
Let's take a look.
Okay, that's right, in parentheses. So you write 2 comp, and then in parentheses, you put what you are connecting it to. So I'm connecting it to that position of that.
Change the, okay.
And what 2 comp does is it transitions the position relative when you're parenting things. Because when I have that null object parented to that star, its position isn't really moving.
Okay.
See? But when you use a 2 comp, it takes into consideration the parent that it is moving. So let's now move that position. And if we look at the brush position up there, you can see that it's actually doing something.
Oh,
so
it's changing.
let's go 0.2.
Make that.
And then where's the space? Oh, that's the spacing. Oh, not in seconds.
Let's see, brush.
There we go.
Okay, cool.
Stroke length 0.2. So
Sweet.
it just remembers where that is, and even if we rotate,
Oh, I love how that bends. And you could add as many of these as you want.
yep,
One for each side, provided you would have to have different nulls.
yes, a null for each point,
Okay.
and a so that's the thing is a new write on and a new null for each
Right
one.
on a new null.
It's not too difficult when you're wanting to do that though. So just like quickly, I'll take this trace null, duplicate it. Let's put it over here. So we got trace 2, and then duplicate the write on 2, and let's go into the expression for write on 2, and then we just type in there trace 2.
Thank you. Angelo is going to bed. I think Angelo, I forgot where he lives, but is crashing out. And I like how John Rafter's like, After Effects! Like he's trying to win.
A little too late.
Either way late or really early.
This is for the next one. So that's little vector trails, and you
That's so
just
cool.
by
That's so cool. I think it's cool.
and again, I mean, you could just move this wherever. And
That right on is still.
and one benefit of using the 2 comp is it's 3D aware.
Oh,
So
okay.
if we turn these all 3D and move this in 3D space,
Can you like rotate it?
Wait, I don't want the background 3D.
Pre-effects.
And then, yeah, let's rotate it in 3D.
Zoop. Okay. Sweet.
So, you can move the whole thing in 3D,
Love it.
and it just follows it, just
Love
sticks
it.
with it. So that is,
Killing it.
and you can see, I mean, this, I'm just kind of goofing around, but if
Yeah.
I, spend some time, make it look really nice, you can do some awesome stuff.
Yeah, totally. And you've covered quite a bit. I mean, look at how many
Yeah, I know.
different comps are open. Yeah, and you managed to get it all in. Could you kind of click through just for
Yeah,
those who
so,
might have missed kind of from the top what we kind of covered?
Long shadows. So if you missed it from the top, go back and watch the stream.
Yeah.
Make sure you add some amazing comments.
Yeah, please.
We built some long
We'd appreciate
shadows.
that. We gave away Creative Cloud.
Kind of built this effect.
That's again dynamic because
Yep.
we're talking about making dynamic projects for.
We
For
made this so
reuse.
it
Love this.
the kind of the gloopy bendiness. That's the
What
creative-
about this one flying through the air again, super cool.
the hacker text?
Yeah, that's where you hacked in,
We made this offset text.
which is also animated. Very cool. Just has a cool look about it.
Yeah. I wish I remembered where I saw this. Somebody had made something like this. And
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it just looks so good, even as a still, and then sort of these traces.
Yep.
Right on. Yeah, it's super cool, man.
All right.
Everybody's like, "Oh, Mikey, yes!" Or at least 2 claps.
2 claps
I
for
would clap
Mikey.
more. He deserves lots of claps. And the cool thing about a lot of that is you turn some, and you can turn many of them into presets for reuse later.
So something like this right on one is going to be a little bit more difficult to do presets.
Yeah.
But once you have them in here, I can come in here and you can move that around. I can move these.
Move around those nulls.
Yeah, if I want the nulls to be in different spots.
Yeah, and you just get a cool look as it starts to spin around. Yeah, you can have one in each.
And then everything again just builds from where it was.
Yeah. Summit learned so much from you. You're easy to follow. You kind of start with a blank canvas. You type in some text, really straightforward, easy to get into, and that's what I think is cool about today and yesterday, which is also still available as well if you jump back and check that out. So yeah, that was fun, man. It's like dynamic effects. Oh, we have more stuff. I'm just kind of clicking ahead because tomorrow it kind of seems like things going to really start coming together, huh?
So tomorrow we're going to be building movie titles.
Yeah, man. So
So-
are we going to be like taking some of these things that we've learned? Or?
Yeah, movie titles, the titles in a movie trailer, they all have about 4 different parts. You've got a background, the text, and how it animates in, and the big reveal. And so we're going to show different types of doing backgrounds, different ways of doing the text, different ways of having the animations, and different ways of doing reveals. And
Okay.
we'll build a few of these kind of thing.
Okay.
So I think we'll have time to do
a little like. Are you going to get into a little bit of 3D, at least the 2.5D, or is it going to involve some of that, or?
Yeah, we can. A lot of stuff. A lot of these titles do 3D. So, and that's just with how you make the text. So I guess I can give them homework. Homework for tomorrow is go watch movie trailers.
There you go. Yeah, and come tomorrow with your favorite movie trailer. You talking movie trailer or movie opening, like the opening build of the title?
They're usually the same, or sometimes they're different. But you watch a trailer and it's like this actor's up and they're fighting and they're jumping and this guy's doing that, and then boom, here's the name of the movie, right? That kind of just that treatment where the text comes in and goes boom, right?
Yeah, totally. We've seen that done in fact, if you go back, we've done that. Synapse does that actually. That was on he's guy does it in 3D, but I like this whole idea because who doesn't want to build this out for their channel? And I know Sarah's coming up next. I think I see her over there. Awesome.
So but with
follow that link. And,
with movie titles, I see a lot of people taking the movie titles and they're doing it for like a company video.
Yeah.
So like introducing our new product, and they'll recreate a movie title before they're
CFO.
Exactly right.
Stranger Things.
Yeah, there's like already 5 or 6 million tutorials out there for that one.
I like it. Right.
All right.
But that's something that Sarah can apply, or something like you can put on sort of YouTube videos or whatever. This and that.
Exactly.
Super fun. Synapse is awesome for C4D, and does that? Yeah, we're about there. Awesome, Mikey, you are the man. Super honored to have you here.
All right.
Hand claps.
See you tomorrow.
Not too loud. See you tomorrow, same time. Stick around, guys. Follow the link.